If you're thinking about moving to Port St. Lucie and just wondering where, then this is a video for you. There are so many options when it comes to moving and living in Port St. Lucie, but one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to make a mistake. This week, we're going to look at all the major communities within the Port St. Lucie area. We are a relocation team, and we speak to people literally every day looking to move to this area, and we've helped many families in this regard. We're going to break them down, so mostly the new construction, but also some of the existing stuff that you want to be concerned with if you're thinking about moving to Port St. Lucie, Florida. So bear in mind, this is not a 55 plus community video, but having said that, Port St. Lucie is loaded with 55 plus communities. I just typed in Riverland in Port St. Lucie. This is probably the #1 55 plus community in all of South Florida. And you can see all these areas came up: Valencia Cay, Valencia Grove, Valencia Park. What does that all mean? Well, let me tell you. So I'm kicking it off right with like the #1 area that people are moving to, Riverland. Riverland, you know, their plans have expanded drastically from when they first started. But in the end, I don't know how many. Originally, they were thinking a much smaller amount. It could be as much as 10,000 homes when all is said and done in that area. It's in Port St. Lucie West. If you're looking at Port St. Lucie, you will find a lot of the new construction is to the west. It's just the way, by the way, we are a new home co-broker. Want to say that right off the bat. So we do a lot of new construction for people relocating to this area. And Port St. Lucie, Riverland within Port St. Lucie started with Valencia Cay, then they went to Valencia Grove, then they went to Valencia Walk. All these are within the same Riverland community. I know it can be confusing, but that's how they do it. They're selling out of Valencia Park right now, and there will be more Valencias going forward. Valencia is like a term that the builder, GL Homes, uses for 55 plus. If you want an elaborate 55 plus community with amenities like to die for, if that's your #1, criteria factor when it comes to moving and living in a community here in South Florida, a 55 plus community in South Florida, Riverland's going to be your probably your #1 choice. They have some good competition, but from an amenities perspective, I often call it the Disneyland when it comes to the 55 plus communities here in South Florida. I mentioned you don't want to make a mistake earlier. When we did a very thorough investigation when we moved down here 19 years ago, we knew we wanted to live in a certain area, and when we first investigated the area, we found it was not for us. The people who are best prepared for this move, that do their homework, we find are the people that do the best. They don't have regrets. So the best type of family when it comes to relocating is do a little bit of homework first before you come down. Reach out to us before you come down. We'll talk about a Zoom later. That's the best way for us to help prepare you, and then we can go start looking at these communities. By the way, we do a lot of existing, and we help keep, living in Palm Beach, Florida, we help keep the builders accountable. The #1 competitor for Riverland is PGA Verano, and it's right here on the map. As you can tell, this whole area, this Port St. Lucie West, this whole area is where all the growth is. If you're a golfer, you're going to love this community. I owe you guys to do an all-age community. That's coming up next. I'm going to focus on a couple of all-age communities. But while I'm sitting here going over this community, these are the top two. Well, actually, no, I think about it. I'm sorry, I'm wrong about this. PGA Verano is not a 55 plus community. It is Riverland's biggest competitor, but it is not age restricted. If you're looking at a 55 plus community and you're wondering about the rules and regulations because you heard stuff about it, look at this video here. Those are the pros and cons of living in a 55 plus community. You're going to want to know what you're getting yourself into. PGA Verano is 2,700 homes. They started years ago, before around the Great Recession that we had here in the United States. So they had a slower start, but they're on fire now. Coulter is the builder. they're down to like last I checked with them, which is about a week or so ago. They are down to 600 homes left. It's a builder that everyone loves. If you look at their model homes, they compare well to any builder out here in South Florida. They really do, and they have a certain amount of customization. I'm sorry, they don't like that word customization. They have a certain amount of personalization that they prefer that word when it comes to designing your home. You can kick out, as an example, you can kick out the back of the home about 4 feet, not about exactly 4 feet, to include to like do your patio, your loggia, your backyard, your deck in the back, 4 feet. When you do that, it also kicks out your master suite. They can also do a similar thing with the garage. You can put every single floor plan they have is a 1 story, but you can do with any of their floor plans a second story. So they show a lot of them as 1 stories, but you can always add that second story. So you got a lot of flexibility when it comes to adding, designing your home at PGA Verano. If you are a golfer, PGA Verano is a great community. Their amenities are not as strong as Riverland in terms of there's not a restaurant on their premises as an example. But we have a lot of people who have been to golf, and you can get on their membership. You don't have to be a member of PGA Verano, a member of the golf club to be in PGA Verano. It's got an elaborate lifestyle as well. It's not age restricted, but it does trend from the people that we see a little bit older than some of the other all age communities. But it's probably Riverland's number one competitor when it comes to buying in Port St. Lucie 55 plus. Have you guys ever heard of Tradition? Well, let me tell you a little bit about it. I just typed in on the Google map Tradition and the Village, and it came this. This is like there's no downtown. When it comes to Port St. Lucie, there's no downtown Port St. Lucie. This is the closest you're going to get to it. But it's pretty elaborate. By the way, Port St. Lucie, and I'll talk more about this in a minute, is the sixth largest city in Florida, and it is one of the fastest growing. This and all of it sort of centers around here, which is Tradition Village, and you can see there's a lot of shopping when you walk to this area, and it's got that little center in there, a little fountain in the area in the middle. It is this is the center of what we call Tradition. And let me tell you a little bit about Tradition. Tradition started many years ago. It continues to develop. The original builder out there was Mattamy, and that's Matt and Amy. Take the words Matt and Amy, the names, put them together, and it's pronounced Mattamy. That's the builder. They were a big developer in the Tradition area. They actually have, so we'll talk about CDDs and stuff a little bit later, but a little bit now as well. There is a CDD if you belong to in a Tradition community. So if you're if you're thinking about moving to Port St. Lucie and you're investigating communities, you need to ask, is there a CDD? Here at Living in Palm Beach, Florida, we help families all the time. Down below we have our contact information. I highly recommend in the description in the comment section, there's a link. Click on that link for a Zoom. I highly recommend, taking the time. Let's spend a little bit of time on the phone. I can direct you about these things. What are real estate taxes? We're going to talk about that in a little bit too. They're a little bit different in Port St. Lucie than compared to Martin County and Palm Beach County. But Tradition has their own little section, their own little development where there's a CDD, there's an HOA for it. So that's the big thing about it. There's an HOA for it. And what that means is that you're going to pay a Tradition HOA, but it gets you stuff. It's not like it's just a VIG that you're paying to the prince or the king. It's something that you get. You get internet, you get high speed, you get cable, you get perks for it. So if you're in a Tradition, not all Port St. Lucie communities are in Tradition, but there are a few that you want to know about. Since I spoke about Mattamy, I'm going to give you their 3 really popular all age communities that, and it goes from highest to lowest. I'll start with the lowest in terms of pricing. And in terms of amenities as well. They're all age communities. The number one Mattamy community that they have in that area in tradition is Cadence. It's a great first time home buyer community. You don't have to be a first time home buyer to buy in there, but it's if you want good value and having like not an elaborate amenity center is for you. That's a community to consider. It's priced extremely well. When you look at the prices of like Palm Beach on average is $640,000 a median, not average, but median share price of a single family home is 640. You're looking at about somewhere between 100 to $200,000 different when you're looking at any of these homes in Port St. Lucie. It's the number one reason why people look in Port St. Lucie. I'll talk a bit about the airport later as well. That's one of the cons. Guys, we did a pros and cons video of living in Port St. Lucie. Watch that one later. We'll mention some of these communities in there, but that's more geared towards the pros and cons of living in Port St. Lucie. But so that's what you get with Cadence. The number two community is Kenley. It's another all-age community that's in the middle. It's a nice community. It's a step up price-wise for certain than a Cadence. Pretty close with proximity. I like it. Its amenities are better than what you get at Cadence, but it's not elaborate. It's middle. The better one of the three is a community called Seville. Seville is their top end of these three communities. I like it. It shows well. It's not amenity rich like a 55 plus community, but it has a lot of amenities. If I'm looking, I happen to like amenities. I think it holds. Remember, I moved here from the New York City area 19 years ago. You guys who've watched this channel know this. We almost made a mistake moving to a particular place, and we didn't. I wish there was a video like this when I was moving. But if I were moving from where I am now in Palm Beach, which one day I might, to Port St. Lucie area, Seville is a type of community I would definitely consider. I think amenities really do provide lots of value. When you're selling your home years later, you might not realize that you might think that at the time, but years later, you probably will sell your home. You're going to want resale value, and amenities at a good price provide exactly that. Let's go to some premier golf communities. All right, here, I'm going to start with Astor Creek. By the way, I'm going to show the beaches here. So here's Astor Creek. This is where a lot of these communities are, Port St. Lucie West. Jensen Beach is right here. Our number one question we get is how far is the beach? That's how far it is. It's about a half-hour ride. It's really not too bad. There's also Stewart Beach. You can get there a couple different ways. That's one way. There's Hutchinson Island up north. Your closest beach is here. This is the what they call the Jensen Beach Causeway. So it's not around the corner. You can't walk to it, but it's close enough that if you want to get there, it's about, like I said, about a half hour. Astor Creek is one of my favorite golf communities. It is a membership community. The next one I'm going to mention is also a membership community. It's got a bit of a different character than this one. Astor Creek is a Coulter community, is a Coulter builder. It is people like it for that because they like the homes that this builder provides. It's just getting started. Coulter is the primary builder, but they've got another builder just coming in there like right now. That second builder is Taylor Morrison, and they're good. So if you want Astor Creek, I love it. There's still a lot of land available there. There are people I hear that go there and look at. There's some power line issues. There are some properties. You got to be careful when picking your lots. That's why people use us at Living in Palm Beach, Florida. We can help guide you with this and make sure you don't make those kind of mistakes. There are some people that have said that, but there are lots that are not like that. So you got to be careful. So it's one of the things. That's one of the reasons why people use us So be careful. But if you want a low cost membership communities have initiation fees often, not always, but often, and they have membership fees to be part of the club. This one in particular, those fees are extremely low. So I just bolted from this area on the map to this area, what we call Tesoro Club. This is a super interesting community. Look at the landscape here. I mean, golf courses all over the place. Their clubhouse is ridiculous. You have a few builders in here. We've done business with this one in particular. Toll Brothers. I know you guys know Toll Brothers. It is a publicly traded builder. But they've got a lot of other stuff here. You've got a lot of private builders, and you got a few things. Let me tell you about Tesoro Club. This is the epitome of a membership community, and why I say that, when you come through the entrance, you'll see it, and you go to their clubhouse, their main, like where you have lunch. You feel like you're in a gentleman's club. I feel like I was like back in the movie Caddyshack. Do you guys remember the movie Caddyshack? I sort of feel like, that I was in that kind of club. These people who are the developers, the partners that have put forth and turned this community around, have done a stupendous job. The grounds look as clean as possible. It is a membership fee, so you have to get over a few things like paying the membership fees and initiation fees and stuff like that. Reach out to our team if you want some guidance on that. But this is made, if you are a golfer, if golf is a big part of your life, you want to look at this place. Toll Brothers, I mentioned, is one of the builders. There's WCI, which is really Lennar. Lennar uses that label for their higher end product. In order to be into Sorrow Club, you've got to be a higher end product. So they're not using their other homes per se, Lennar, for this project, because you need to be a little bit higher, I feel. They've got a lot of private builders, and that's what, if you buy in a company with a builder like Toll Brothers or Lennar, it's one of the things, you have value in knowing that your neighbors are in really high-end homes. Those private builders you will not be able to touch for less than $2 million. I mean, they go from 2 to 5, let's call it. They sort of, it's like a la carte building, and it's super high end. This community's been around for a while, so you will see some existing homes that have been there like about 10 years. They've revitalized the community in recent years, and they're doing a great job. I'm going to leave it like that, but I need to do a video on Tesoro Club because one of the most intriguing communities I feel in Port St. Lucie. So one of the things about living in Florida in general is if you're into fitness and things like that, outdoors, this is a great community. I'm dressed like this today because I just came from my stretch appointment. My routine is to get up at 4:30 every morning. I work out every day, and I go for stretches twice a month. And I always wear this because it's freezing in where they do it. But if you're into health, I mean, Florida is the number one state, I feel, for that. I know I'm going off on a little bit of tangent, but I like to tell the story. It's one of the reasons why my family and I love living here in Florida. Let me give you a con to living in Port St. Lucie. It is about an hour from the airport. So if you're like into traveling, if you have to be next to an airport because you travel a lot, it might not be the community for you. Down south is the the Palm Beach International Airport, located in West Palm Beach. That's your closest airport. You can go north to Orlando. You're probably 2 hours from Orlando, closer to the airport. So, those are some of the things you need to contend with if you move there. Let me give you a really big pro. It was voted recently the number 2 safest city in the United States. It's got really high scores when it comes to safety and crime statistics. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. All this stuff I'm giving you today is based on insights from people I've spoken to. I'm not steering you in any way whatsoever. We deal with families literally every single week relocating to this area, and I'm giving you valuable feedback, which I wish I had when I was moving here. The other thing, and I've never seen it, and I don't know what publication made that number 2, but there was a publication that had that. I used to know, I don't remember now off the top of my head. Another thing, and this is just my observation, another thing about Port St. Lucie is that it's a very clean city. And I don't see, there's no, this one said this and voted it. I just know that, especially coming from New York and living in Manhattan for a while, and you know how that can be when it comes to cleanliness. Um, Port St. Lucie is like a whole other end of the spectrum. It is a really clean city. That's what we find. But let me get back to some of the other communities you're going to want to consider if you're thinking about moving to Port St. Lucie. So I just typed in Belterra, and there's a reason why I'm picking up. This is a whole big area. It's not just this, not this community. Let me X out of this. So we're looking right here. You see all this? This is a brand new area in Port St. Lucie. They have it down. I love this. I love this community. I love this builder. They have. There's a certain amount of personalization you can do. When I was there last, they were one of their incentives were a free pool, and it's not just like a cheapo pool, a nice pool in your backyard. That is, and they've got it. So they've got this Belterra is a community that I really do like, and the people I take there really do like and appreciate it. Just and reason I bring this up also is because over here you see all this land. Well, that's soon to be developed, and let me tell you about that. So it is part of tradition. Like Belterra is part of tradition. So you will be paying an HOA fee to the tradition association. It's and that's as you can tell on the map, it's on the southern part of Port St. Lucie, which hasn't really been touched yet. When you go up to these other communities like the Talaros and the Del Webbs, and which we haven't talked about yet, Riverland and all up there, you sort of instead of going making that right, you go straight, and that is like the southern part of Port St. Lucie. There's a huge community targeted to be about 8,000 homes, which is called Sundance. Sundance is at least a few months away, maybe a little bit longer, but you guys know this. If you follow the channel, you know this. If you don't follow the channel, hit subscribe because you're going to want to know this stuff. When you get in early in a community, that's the best time. People try to look at statistics and time the market. Well, there's something really basic when it comes to getting good prices. At the beginning of each new construction community are the best prices. They don't ever lower prices. They always raise them. They start these communities at lower prices as compared to the equilibrium of supply. Your economics people, like I'm an economics major when I was in college, it's supply and demand. They look at what the prices should be, and they offer it lower because they want to get the momentum going for the community. And then they start with price increases. Good example is Newfield, which I'll touch on later. Newfield is a nearby community, nearby city in Palm City, big community, about 4,500 homes. Sundance is done by Akel. That's spelled Akel. And it's going to be about 8,000 homes. There's not a lot of information on it, but I do know it's going to be a big community, and I do know it's new. If you want good prices, you reach out to us. We'll help guide you as to what the case is. Doesn't mean that the old communities have bad prices, but if you want in on the ground floor of a community, you have to tolerate a little bit of construction, maybe, and things like that. There are some cons to it, but if pricing is your number one or at near the top of your list of considerations, you need to take it. You need to take note of this. So this is another. Now we're going north. Another section that's just starting out here in Port St. Lucie. Reach out to us, guys. Let us help you with this area because there's so many. I'm literally just like on the tip of the iceberg here. There's so much more. There's Mosaic. There's Glen I wasn't even going to mention, but since it's here, I'm going to mention that. That just opened up. That just opened up again. Early is better. But this Wilder area, if you come to this thing right here, it says Live Wilder. There's a big sign there that says Wilder, and it really incorporates all these communities in here. As an example, Bristol. Bristol is like the first development within this area. They have two builders. One is Lennar, and then one is Bristol. And if you're looking at in terms of comparing the two, in terms of pricing, Meritage Homes is about 50 thousand dollars more expensive than Lennar. They're pretty close, but they're both production builders. But the newest builder in there is this one. That's why I hit up KO Vanian. They just opened this community up. I was there last week, and I super love. There's nothing there. You can see that. I super love this community. If you're looking at 55 plus homes. So Four Seasons is the signature label for KO Vanian when they do a 55 plus community. This one just opened up, and I like it. Their process is a little bit different. Like when you buy a house, the base price of the house. Currently, that community is doing mainly their sales are mainly in quick delivery homes. That's a good point here to make. There's a big difference between buying a quick delivery home and a to be built home. We do both with these people, with not these people, any builder. And generally speaking, and reach out if you want to know more about this, your quick delivery homes are your better bet, but you have to give up something for it. I'll tell you about that later. This builder, their process, if you're doing a to be built, don't have like it's not a la carte like like a GL Homes or a Coulter or the Taylor Morrison. It's not like that. You have to you have A, B, and C. They basically have four categories. They call them palettes, and you pick your palette. So it gives it there's less decision making, but it's also a lot more lean, and the pricing is probably a little bit better because you do it that way. If you're looking at a 55 plus community that doesn't rhyme with Riverland, that's a good one to consider. I gotta say this, we are completely unbiased. We don't work for any of these builders. We are your best bet for getting new construction in this community. Do not walk into the sales center on your own. If you do that, you're crazy.
You guys are crazy.
I say this in all my videos. You owe it to yourself to get independent representation. Independent representation means a company like ours living in Palm Beach, Florida, needs to be there on your first visit. If we're not there on your first visit and you try to include us on the deal to help you, the builder oftentimes will not allow you to do it. We're there for the whole journey. There is zero cost of using us. It's the builder who pays us. It's done out of a separate marketing budget, so there's no discount for not using us. Ask the builder; they'll tell you that. And we would love to help you in your journey here and partner up with you at living in Palm Beach, Florida. And by the way, we'll be there for your whole journey from first meeting to the closing. So I've zoomed out a little bit here in the on the map. So what's good about this? Another good thing that's good about this area, you have Route 95, which is one of the major roads north to south along the east coast of the United States. And then you have the Florida Turnpike, which is also a major road here within Florida. It's a toll road, and there's less traffic on it. So you have two of the major roads going north to south here in this area, which is one of the reasons why this is the number 6 city in Florida now. It's the number 6. It's recently passed Cape Coral. It's just after St. Petersburg and Tampa comes Port St. Lucie. It's one of the reasons why people are moving here. I'm moving down the map here, and I want to show you two things quickly. Here's Stewart. Stewart is another city where we're getting a lot of people look at. It's in a different county. It's in Martin County. Real estate taxes are less. I'll tell you more about that in a second. Also, Palm City is also in Martin County. Same thing with real estate taxes. But we're seeing a lot of new construction in this area. There's a corollary to the Port St. Lucie story, but it's so close and it has some similarities. I feel compelled. I need to tell you the story. Prices in Palm Beach have been going up a whole lot in the since 2020. Florida, about 1,000 people. There are times when about 1,000 people move here a day. We are the number 1 state when it comes to people moving here, and they're because of that, our home price appreciation over the long term since 2020, let's call it the last 5 years, is higher than literally anywhere else. Palm Beach is like the epicenter of that. So some people get priced out and they look for alternatives. Port St. Lucie is one of them. In the middle is Martin County, which I mentioned a second ago. Taxes, real estate taxes are approximately 1.6 to 1.7% of your assessed value. Palm Beach, it's called 1.6. Palm Beach is about 1.75%. Port St. Lucie is about 2% and higher. You look at the millage and all that kind of stuff, but the real estate taxes are a little bit higher in Port St. Lucie. The people are moving north of Palm Beach because they're getting priced out. Some of them don't want to go all the way to Port St. Lucie where the prices are lower. They'll go to Martin County in like Stewart and Palm City, and the taxes are they benefit because the taxes are lower, and the prices are going to be higher in Martin County than Port St. Lucie, but lower than what you get in Palm Beach. I hope that makes sense to you. But we get a lot of people moving to Stewart. I'll give you a few communities off the top of my head. There's High Point, there's Cove Royale, there's Port Salerno. There's a lot of them in that area. It's a fast growing, and there's a couple of D.R. Horton communities in there. That's another builder, one of the biggest builders in the world. There's a lot of people built, a lot of builders building that area. There's still lands there. There's a concept that this entity called Story, Storie. And I'll tell you about that on another video. I've mentioned it in other videos. If that goes in, that's going to completely change the landscape of Stewart. But those are the Stewart communities. Palm City is like that too. Palm City has got one big builder right now that's selling. That's Newfield. Canopy Creek was in there. That's another great builder. Another Builders Coulter, another great community that just recently sold out. But let me tell you a little bit about Newfield. So Palm City is just west of Stewart. If you live in Palm City, you're going to find yourself going to Stewart a lot. The downtown has a lot to do. Great downtown. Let's type in Newfield and you'll see where it takes us. It takes us a little bit west. So as you can see, let me zoom out a little bit. Here's Stewart. And actually, it came up as Newfield Parkway because that used to be the only thing there. But right here, you could see where it says Mattamy, Holmes, Newfield. It's a whole lot of nothing there. That's the way it is now. But this community is developing like crazy, and location-wise, it can't be beat. At some point, there's going to be 4,500 homes right in that area. So I'm going to give you a little bit of advice too. If you're buying this community, it's one of the reasons why people use us is we give them good advice on stuff like this. It's such a big area, but there are going to be 9 sections. But look at how close this is to the turnpike and how far away this is. Let us help guide you because some road noise is something you want to strategically plan for when you're buying in any new construction community. It's developed a lot now. So people want to go here because lower taxes, close to the Palm Beach stuff. Gardens Mall, by some accounts, is the nicest mall in Florida, not just the area, but the state of Florida. You can get there a lot quicker in Stewart and Palm City. So you want to be closer to Palm Beach. Palm City is a way to do it. Newfield is the newest community. It's going to be, they're targeting right now 4,500 homes when all is said and done. Their first of 9 sections is called Rosetta Park. If you're into backyards, having a big backyard, this is not for you. It's not really big piece of property. If you want a nice, elaborate, unique floor plan, this is for you. I like the community. Each section has their own, will have their own, each will have their own amenity center, and it'll be a little bit different. They have a farm in the first one, so it's very an agri-hood like in Arden. Remember we spoke about Arden down in Palm Beach. Similar concept. Right now, every Friday night they have like these farm fests out there. It's incredible. I really do like it. It's going to be one of the. It's so, again, you're getting it on the ground floor. They have some super nice houses. They have houses there for over 1 million. You don't have to pay 1 million to get there. You can get a nice house in there in the six, sevens, and 800,000s. And there's some townhouses in there. If you love the community and you don't want to spend the money on a single family home, we had a buyer that closed on townhouses in the 400s. You can't buy a townhouse in the 400s in Palm Beach, not a nice one anyway. Anyways, so that's one of the reasons why people reach out to us is we have a lot. I mean, 19 years ago, my family and I relocated to this beautiful part of the world, and I haven't looked back. And we help people do exactly that. Consider all these areas when it comes to thinking about moving to all of South Florida. The other thing about working with these builders is they want to sell you their stuff. I should have said this earlier because I hope the guys that are on at the end of this video give me a thumbs up, give you a thumbs up for this that you hung out. It means you're smart and you want to educate yourself. We do existing homes. We help sell existing homes. The builders, they do not. So if there is an existing home in their community that is maybe a lower price or better value, they're not going to tell you. They're going to want to sell you theirs. We don't care. We do existing homes, and we're unbiased in this regard. We want to help you, whether it's in that builder's community, in whether it's a resale, or whether it's another community. We'd love to help you here at Palm Beach, living in Palm Beach, powered by eXp Realty and eXp Luxury. Port St. Lucie, Stewart, Palm Beach, paradise here in South Florida.